The Panthers take on the Sharks in the second of our preliminary finals this Saturday. I'm Darcie McDonald, joined by a former Panther in Josh Mansour to preview this huge game. And Josh, how confident are you as an ex-teammate of many of this Penrith side that they can enter their 5th consecutive grand final appearance?
I'm super confident, Darcie, and that's putting bias aside, of course. I've obviously got a strong connection to the club, and I always back the Panthers boys in performing, and particularly this final series, they've really made a statement that first game against the Roosters. They've enjoyed a week off, they've freshened up, and they've got their eyes and focus on the Sharks now. So it's funny because like the top 4 teams, they solidified their spot in the semi-finals, and I always thought that these 4 teams deserved to be in the semis, and especially the Sharks. They had a bit of a stop-start back end of the season, but they thoroughly deserve to be facing the Penrith Panthers for this game.
Well, at the foot of the mountains, they're calling it the last ride, with the likes of James Fisher-Harris and Jerome Luai leaving at year's end. Yeah. Will that give the side added motivation to get the job done against the Sharks?
I think it will. Like, you always look for added motivation year after year, particularly when you're a side that's so successful as the Penrith Panthers, and there's actually more to it. They're losing their home, their soul, the Penrith Stadium getting knocked down, so they'll be moving and uprooting to Parramatta at CommBank Stadium. I'm not sure the Parramatta supporters would like that, but there's a lot going into this season. James Fisher-Harris in particular has been instrumental enforcer for the Panthers in the last almost decade now, and Jerome Luai, of course, has been Nathan's right-hand man, and he's really rose to the occasion and really put his authority in saying, you know what, I can be the man. I can wear that number 7 jersey. I can call the shots. So yeah, it's a very, very exciting last couple of games, and I'm sure the Panthers will be doing their best to send these guys off.
You touched on a little earlier about the week off. You know this playing group well. You know Ivan Cleary well. How important was that week off, and how do you think they spent it? Oh
yeah, definitely. Like in 2020, it was so important. We obviously get to freshen up. It's a long season as it is, 27 rounds, and the week off is so important, particularly for the top 2 teams like the Melbourne Storms and Panthers. So they'll have a massive advantage going to this week. I recall in 2020, we had the week off, had a pretty convincing win against the Roosters, and then we had the opportunity to look at the prelim, and obviously Souths ended up being our next opponent, and we were already dialed in. We sat in the amphitheatre there in our media room, and we were just silent. Everyone was just invested in watching the way these 2 teams played. And once the game was over, all our attention was on South Sydney, and we were fully focused and ready to take on that challenge that day.
That's a big advantage, isn't it?
Massive.
Well, switching to Cronulla, and a lot of pressure was relieved last weekend with their first finals victory since 2018.
Monkeys off the bat.
Yeah, absolutely. How important was that win to the confidence within the side, especially Nicho Hynes?
Oh, so important, so important. I was getting a bit worried. I thought the Cowboys were going to run them home in the end, but they obviously held firm and got a pretty impressive win. I think the mental demons of knowing the fact that they've been bounced back-to-back final series will definitely played an effect last week, I think, particularly the last 20 minutes of that game. You could see it. I think they were getting a bit nervous, a bit frustrated with their game, but Cronulla got home in the end, and they should be really proud. They started the year on fire. They were first on the ladder. They were the best defensive side. There's been a few disruptions. A lot of that has been around Nicho, and but one man I want to highlight is Braden Trindle. In Nicho's absence, he's been the man. He's going to be demanding a lot of money in the next couple of seasons. And I'm sure this game is obviously going to add to that and to his experience. But yeah, with Nicho, this is another opportunity for him to really rise to the occasion. But not only him, the Cronulla Sharks. People are probably writing them off in this game, and I think that's quite disrespectful. I don't think Penrith are writing them off.
No way.
They can come with this ambush mentality, and I'm sure they can really take it to the Penrith Panthers if they put their full focus into it.
Well, you mentioned Braden Trindle. He's taken a lot of pressure off Nicho Hynes this season. The last month, his form has reached new heights. You played with him a bit last year at Newtown. Just what is it about his game that is so crucial to the Sharks' attack?
I think he just ticks a lot of categories. He's also a great ball runner, very good game manager, communicator. I was a bit worried about how his defence was going to hold up this year, but he's been outstanding. He's obviously got a good edge back rower there protecting him as well. But his rise is no surprise to me. He was outstanding last year for the Newtown Jets. He also got a call-up last year. Didn't play consistent first grade, but had a few call-ups, and I'm sure he's going to be consistent first grader from here on in. And this game also I want to talk about around the Sharks. They're going to have some mental demons from the last time the Panthers met them, and they absolutely humiliated them by 40 points. A lot of lessons out of that game. The one lesson that comes to mind, they got to start fast and got to match Penrith's intensity. Penrith are very comfortable in going set for set. They really need to think outside the box here, and they have to be comfortable and have to hold their nerve to really have that war of attrition and get in that grind with Penrith. Penrith will back themselves in getting winning the battle there, but they have to be ready to attack and take on any opportunity that presents themselves. They can't hold themselves back, and I think Braden Trindle is really good at doing that.
Well, I mentioned earlier the Sharks' last win in the finals before this year was in 2018, which happened to be against the Panthers.
I remember that game.
Could they replicate that result and spring a huge upset here, or will your old team rise once more and keep their premiership title defence alive?
Listen, I'm gonna tip with my heart and my head here, and I'm gonna go with the Panthers. I think the week off, the way this final series has presented itself, their form, Nathan Cleary's inclusion, obviously the best player in the game. I just think everything's going for the Panthers at the moment. The added motivation of Jerome Luai leaving, James Fisher-Harris. I think, like you said, it's the last ride for the Panthers, and they'll be living that to the final moment. So I'm going to tip them to win this game.
All right, thanks, Josh. If you want to see this match live, simply go to nrl.com/tickets. If you can't get to the game, you can still watch it on Channel 9, Foxtel, Sky New Zealand, or KO. Kickoff is at 7:50 p.m.